Let's start off with Nigeria. Now, in the recently concluded off-cycle elections held in Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo States, where the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, declared Governor Hope Uzodimma of the All Progressive Congress, APC, winner of the November 11th, 2023 governorship elections in Imo State, and also in this, which of course is the south eastern part of Nigeria, and also Usman Ododo, winner in the Kogi State, and Duoye Diri, winner in the Bayelsa State governorship polls. There were unfortunate reports of vote apathy, of course, vote buying, and election violence. Now, these incidences have raised concerns about the integrity of the electoral process in Nigeria. It is also crucial that authorities take swift action to address some of these issues, ensuring fairness and peaceful elections in the coming future. And of course, to discuss all of these particular events unfolding in Nigeria's off-cycle election, I'm joined right now in the studio by Razaq Olokoba, political analyst, of course, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. I give the viewers at home good day.
All right, great. Now, I mean, the off-cycle elections in Nigeria, talking about the ones held in Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa State, just came to a conclusion. That's the voting process. And of course, the announcement of the winners came to a conclusion just hours before now, about roughly an hour, maybe a little above an hour before now. I mean, let's start with your assessment of the general elections itself, the off-cycle election generally in Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi State. What do you think were the main factors that influenced the outcomes of the election and also the process, right? How would you say all of it panned out for you?
Thank you very much. As an election observer, we were not physically present, but we have our colleagues there. There were apprehensions 3 weeks to the election because of the security peculiarities of the 3 states. If you remember clearly that Kogi topped the list of election violence recorded in the history of this country in the last 10-15 years. And Bayelsa, because of the militancy that has been around for quite some time now, it gives you fear that how do we hold election there without friction. And Imo, one of the stronghold of IPOB, put all this together. We had at the back of our mind that there may be some issues when it comes to insecurity. But it's very consoling to notice that the heightened expectations of insecurity were not as serious as work actually played out. It's a pattern in Nigerian election to record what we have seen today. But it's getting better. If you place it side by side with what has happened in the 5 elections that are held in this country, 1999, 2003, up until the one that held early this year, and comparing with this one, you agree with me that things are getting better. When your democracy is getting consolidated, new issues begin to emerge to you, and you begin to resolve it.
You said things are getting better.
Yeah.
Is it in terms of our democracy or the electoral process? I mean, if you were to look at, let's say, what we saw during the earlier during the presidential elections, and now, I mean, quite a number of people have reservations as regards the electoral process. So it looks like, okay, there's voters, well, I call it obligation on one side, and then there's the judiciary. Then aside from that, the fact that some issues also, you know, are subject to interpretation and reinterpretation, like we've seen, you know, with the beavers and all of that. Would you say that it's boosting the confidence of the people in the system itself?
Well, there's a universal standard that gives you indices of whether your democracy is developing or not.
Okay, so what are those standards?
One of it is transition.
Mm.
We have transited from the military to democracy, and the party then had enough time to prove what they have in their manifesto. 16 years is good enough. Another party took over. That's an indication. In fact, that's consolidation of your election. Then the consciousness of your people, if you look at the base of this nature, nobody told your channels to listen to issues like this 20 years ago. Nobody will, they'll be looking for one excitement and entertainment. But today, consciousness is increasing by the day. And that's what led to registration of over 100 million people during voters registration. That's significant improvement. What I want to quickly discourage Nigerians from doing is to understand the limitation of our government, to understand the limitation of our institution. Our institution can't go beyond the pace they are going. If you encourage them to go beyond this pace, we are going to run ourselves into problem. There are demands that are being made about certain ingredients that they want to introduce into electoral process, which, if we were not involved, we have similar thoughts. For instance, electoral voting and all of that things. It comes gradually into the electoral process, because the danger of imposing all the things we would have loved to be part of our election, it will create a lot of crashes for us. And it's better to go gradually and get a better result than to create crashes for ourselves. Even developed democracies have challenges with some of these. So as we are going gradually, issues will begin to emerge. What I have as a concern is the direction, the complicity of INEC in the area of not giving enough education to the political class to prepare their mind for loss. INEC gives the impression that we are going into election without taxing the political body of INEC, that you need to educate all contestants. Yeah, you may win and you may lose. And this is the conduct that is expected from someone who has contested for governor or as a president.
Do you think it's a function of educating the political class?
Yes.
Or it's just beyond that?
No.
I mean, if facts, for instance, I mean, if you tell an individual this is white and this is black and you don't rescind in them, I mean, everyone can see it's white or black, right?
Yeah.
But we've seen cases where there are some laws that are subject to interpretation and reinterpretation. So maybe in that aspect, but
you are right. You are right. It doesn't come without a challenge.
Yeah,
but
I think those are the challenges.
But what should be uppermost in our mind is the country itself. There's a limit to which you should drag your candidacy at court, asserting yourself on the street, and there's a limit to which you should do that. As a businessman, if I want to do my business and, God forbid, I have some challenges, I won't pull the country down. The same thing goes for the political class. They have been harassing us for too long. That once, and it's a pattern to PDP, APC, Labour, and all political parties. It's a pattern. The moment you win an election, INEC becomes your hero. The same political party will condemn INEC immediately they witness a loss in the state. That's uncivilized political expression.
But do you think INEC has done enough to boost?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying now.
Has INEC boosted the trust of not just the political parties, but also the people through their conduct?
We are coming to the people. Well, I'm talking about INEC and the political class now.
Okay.
That INEC should know that, and the political class should also know that you don't win an election by blackmail. If you win or if you lose an election, it shouldn't be all the time because of what INEC didn't do or what INEC did not do. Learn to look inward. Learn to understand that what did I do wrong first before you come to INEC. And this is important. The more you try to create the impression that I failed because of INEC, the more we'll be getting it wrong. Therefore, for the people, we are supposed to supervise our government. The people must supervise the government. And that's the missing link with the people when the president gets there now. You don't allow the president to do certain things without the input of the people. You must be assertive. That goes for INEC too. That goes for election too. As a people, you have a responsibility to dictate to INEC that you did not create that template for INEC. That it's your duty and responsibility to create a model, electoral model for political parties. you must have a manifesto that I must hold you responsible for. Your party must represent something. The people must be able to tell INEC that. And that's why I'm saying that we will be getting it better and better.
I mean, all of the points you have
let me quickly make this point.
Okay.
If you look at, the point I'm trying to make is that things are getting better and we are moving. Don't let anybody give us the impression that things are not getting better. In 1966, when the army boys became so irresponsible that political class are not doing it, it's wrong. They did not allow us to fail and win again. When election is won by a political party and it's taken up by another political party, that's consolidation. That's improvement. When another party takes over, look at Nigeria today. There's a state that party lose, party win, incumbent that lost won again. There's a state in Nigeria like Lagos that they get it right and the electorate have trust in them. That should be the pattern of what is called develop consolidation of democracy all over the world. There must not be a particular pattern. People must be allowed to express their view. And so things are getting better for us. The only thing is that don't move at the speed of another country that understand the terrain. Given the number of years they have spent in democracy, let's understand our peculiarities. I mean, difference in culture, the difference in religion, that political class tend to use at all times.
I'm sorry to cut you, but okay. You gave some indication or some parameters as a factor of progress in our democratic, what I call it, growth. You said transition, and you also talked about the consciousness of the people. I'm still going to go back to the process of transition because I feel that that is the foundation. Once people see their interest at play, their votes, pan out. And they know that at the end of the day, they can trust the system to reflect their interest in the final output. I think trust here, right, is the major ingredient, right? Once that happens, then you see people fall in line. But you'd also want to agree that this process of transition, and you might choose to disagree, has not been transparent or accountable enough. We've seen cases, like I mentioned earlier, where there's interpretation and, again, reinterpretation of, laws written in black and white. One issue that Nigerians still keep asking is, of all the money spent, right, in procurement of equipment, for the presidential election, particularly the beavers, the IREV and all of that, only for us to hear an INEC assuring Nigerians that, oh, everything will be digitalized. And then they go back to the law to say INEC is at liberty to transmit results, in whatever way it seems fit, right? That's one caveat. That was a dent when it comes to trust of Nigerians. And also the issue of when people go to the polls, and then they take it to the courts, and then they get some sort of injunction, and it upturns the entire process. So I mean, those are two
issues now.
Pivotal issues. So let me see you address those first.
Fixation don't build nations. The fixation that this is the terrain that will lead to our prosperity, and if it's not that terrain, we are not going to. That's fixation. Fixation that our democracy cannot be better if there's no beavers. If you don't use beavers, that's fixation. And that's dangerous for development. When there's a challenge that the limitation we are going to suffer if you don't use beaver is far, far lesser than what you are going to encounter when you use the beaver. It's better stick to the lesser challenge. And that's what INEC has done. But we continue with that fixation that if you don't use beaver, it's a modification, it's generated by the people, by individuals like me and you that we can use beavers. When aeroplane was made, nobody thought of parachute. But when we came up with it, parachute also fails. So what I mean in essence is that that fixation, we must distance ourselves from it. Otherwise, we will be getting it wrong. That's number one. Number two is that you say that you want trust for your institution. And I say it's a collective responsibility. It's not only about INEC. When your institution is not strengthened, don't expect your institution to build you. If you have a weak institution, your institution will not build you. And one of the ways to strengthen your institution is to also give your institution that strength that it is required. And what do I mean by that? The people must also express concern about how INEC handles political classes. There should be more of seriousness. That taking part in election is not an affair that must be conducted as if two people are doing business. If I cannot have my way, I'm going to put this country down. And that's what led to the whole question of litigations. In the rest of the world, there are bureaus that educate you about this. There are presidents in this country that don't even understand the political theory that Nigeria stands on. And that's the role of INEC, that there's a limit. There should be a limit. And I say that there should be a limit that aspiration must not push beyond those levels. You will say it's a right. But the right of an individual cannot jeopardize the peace of 250 million Nigerians. This kind of orientation should be done by INEC, that if you are taking part in an election as a president, these are the things we expect from you. To such an extent that you get to a point you say that you are going to witness an unprecedented protest in this country without considering the interest of the nation. That's not good enough. And that is not, we must not be thinking that that's people who have contributed sufficiently to make their country. That's not how they handle it. So what I'm saying in essence is that there should be a role from all of us that must play. The people must understand that you don't get careless with your institutions. INEC needs to do more in that direction. When Obasanjo was there, Obasanjo did not even know that Lagos has the right to come up with some local government. He didn't know. Some governors who put out certain policies that you begin to wonder that where is it? To win an election, it's not that you understand the political theory. And when you say political philosophy, political class thinks once you win an election, you don't need another knowledge again. And that is what is dragging us down. So for Kogi, for Imo, and for Bayelsa, we are getting better. We are getting better.
So for you feel that...
Yes.
So you feel that the elections, the off-cycle elections that just happened, is an improvement to a large extent, or to some extent, to the presidential elections. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate INEC's performance?
INEC performance will be getting 7 all over 10.
10 being the highest?
Yes. 7 all over 10.
So you are giving INEC a 7 in this off-cycle elections?
If we take tabulations of how we conduct elections in this country serious, you take it serious, you look at the case of violence, turnout, political consciousness, and all of those factors, place it side by side with the election or this off-cycle election. You agree with me that they did well?
Okay. I mean, INEC is not just the key player here. We also have security agencies. How would you rate their conduct?
Well, the security agents are beginning to learn a lot of lessons on how to handle or conduct themselves in elections. They now know how to distance themselves from issues between the political parties, and that's good for them. The more elections are held, I'll keep repeating this, the more we'll see areas of challenges. This is not the conduct of our policemen or people take part, security agents that take part in election. 20 years ago, before now, this is not the attitude towards the election. But because of, as we progress, lessons were learned, and people now understand what role were they assigned to play in an election, and that's good for the police, the civil defense too. And if you look at those elections, they begin to apprehend fake police, fake army officers. Before now, it's free for all. But the conduct is getting better, and that's why I'm so bothered as a chartered public administrator. I'm so bothered about our institution that the more you strengthen your institution, the more you build a barricade around INEC, around our police, the more they get inspired. But the more you tend to tell them that you are not in the direction, a tendency may come that they may then face the wrong direction, and that's not good for us. Let's tell them what is wrong that they are doing. Let us tell them what is good that they are doing.
Okay.
We engage frequently with INEC. We honor their challenge. We know that they need support of Nigerians, and we know what they also need to be able to perform their role. One of it is also the power to compel presidents and governors to take orientation on how the president
I mean, we'll get the aspect of orientation, but let's get to specifics concerning this off-cycle elections in Kogi, Bayelsa, and of course Imo State. We know that part of the issues or matters arising was voter apathy, and also there were cases of vote buying or reports of vote buying. And also we saw, particularly in Kogi State, where INEC actually did say that 9 words elections there were suspended, and at the end of the day, a governor was still announced as winner. I don't know. Let's start with this one. Maybe if you can give us an explanation in 30 seconds. How, for the benefit of viewers at home, how can elections in about 9 words be suspended, and yet the umpire still went ahead to announce a winner in that particular state, saying that, the candidate of a particular party, still emerged winner?
Well, I don't know what the law says about that. But there were precedents in the previous elections that had that the number, I think it's in Osun also, when Ife was not, I can't remember clearly. I don't want to juggle figures, mistook figures for each other. That the vote that was coming from a particular section can it upturn the victory that has been announced, which is no, and that's the case with this election. That the vote that are coming, and I think that's in line. There's been that was why they did that, and I don't think they have erred in the face of law. Is that satisfactory? And like I said, that when there's no issue, then let us create problem for solutions. When we provide solutions, I want to see the governors performing. I want to see them working. I don't want to be part of the school of thought that say that you should drag the governors down because now what has not been announced. But in any case, it has nothing to do with his victory. Let him tell us what he intends to do. There were questions being asked. There were questions being asked about Kogi that is he going to be a governor or is he going to be taking instruction from Yaya Bello? These are questions that we should be asking at this moment because election has been conducted, loss has been recorded, victory has been recorded. So let's get down to business, and that is the challenge that Nigerians have to overcome.
I understand that, of course, we'll get into the administrative aspect, but also, like I said at the beginning of this conversation, the process of transition, using your word, is very pivotal. It's important because one thing that was clear during this off-cycle election is voter apathy. And we had people on ground who actually said one of the reasons why people didn't show up or come out to vote is because they did not believe in the process. That is deep.
That's number one. So, but that's not the only reason.
Yeah, it's not the only reason. But I just want to ask you, because we're pressed with time. Now, talking about the process also, right? Some are of the opinion that why declare a winner when there are still issues in court? That why not wait? Maybe you can call it governor in waiting or president in waiting. I'm still dwelling on this process. Governor in waiting, president in waiting. Why swear, a candidate in when there are still lingering issues, at the tribunal level, at the Supreme Court level? I mean, it makes it only harder for the opposition to, secure a victory. I mean, if you have to look at it logically, once a candidate has been declared officially as the winner, what do you think?
First and foremost, people handle their sector and they handle it very well. Political class in this country has been holding us down for too long. And that is why I will not subscribe to holding the country down because you want to announce the victory of a president. You are waiting for the outcome. Judiciary play their role. Parliamentary do that. You are here educating Nigerians. You don't hold the country down. Why must the political class hold the country down? And this goes for all the political parties. It's not only because it's APC, it's not because it's PDP or there must be a way around where the country must keep moving. And that is why the popular opinion says that let the country continue to move. Budget must be read, road must be constructed, health sectors are there, things are happening around the world. In the name of election, you will now hold 250 million Nigerians down. I don't think it is proper. And any model all over the world is adopted in this manner. There's nothing different that we have done in Nigeria. And we cannot, for excitement, turn things around because it is we, Nigerians. We can't do that. So, and we have to be very careful. The art is becoming too contaminated. People are thinking with the idea of maybe moving to the next place. And we are here battling without to win an election. All elections have their own challenges, but our own challenges are becoming too petty. We major too much in minor. And that is why political class must be self-sacrifice, that I can't hold my country down. And that's what inspires people to still be contesting election when the governor has spent 3 years into his administration. Now dragging the state back again. That's not fair on the people of that state. And that's why the political class should stop doing this to us. I'm holding all of them responsible now. They should stop doing this to us. There should be a mature way of conducting themselves. You can't be holding country down for so long. There were moments in this life that ministerial appointments linger for 2 years. That's political, it's not governance. So, and it comes to people now. Once you see this type of thing, don't allow anybody to remind you are a Christian because you want a Muslim ticket. Or to remind that you're an Hausa because you want an Hausa vote. There must be a way we must be able to put the political class to size when it comes to matters of this nature.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Razaq.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, political analyst, of course, from Lagos. Once again, we appreciate you. Well, the conversation continues after this break. Stay with us.